Welcome to our garden, and at first glance it may seem like everything is going amazing, but this is actually our first year of gardening at such a large scale, and through this process we've actually come across 5 mistakes that we made that we're trying to teach you so that you don't make the same when building a garden like ours. I'm Danielle of the Split Arrow Farm, and welcome to our channel where we bring you new content every week on how to start your own backyard homestead. And today we're talking about our garden and some mistakes that we came across. And the first one is probably going to seem pretty rudimentary, but it's the fact that we weren't watering our plants enough. The best way to understand if you're watering your plants too much or too little is going to be actually investigating the soil. So you can go in and actually test out your soil by holding it into a fist, opening it up, and seeing if it clumps. So you can see here that this is clumping. It's not just like disintegrating into tiny pieces, which is a good sign that it means that it is damp and holding some of that water and moisture in there. If it isn't clumping and it's just shredding out into little pieces, then that means they're probably not watering your plants enough, and they're going to start to get kind of droopy, dried up, and not be as prosperous as if you're watering them the proper amount. When we started with our garden, we were watering our plants only 1 time per day, but after deeper investigations, we've learned that you should really be watering your plants 1 to 3 to even 4 times a day, depending on the time of year. So if it is the harsh, warm summer, you're definitely going to be wanting to water more often, as opposed to if it's a rainy, cooler day where you probably don't even need to water at all because Mother Nature is going to be watering your plants for you. But you're definitely going to want to take your time to go around, water all of your plants, make sure that they get nice and saturated, and that you're doing this more than 1 time per day. Number 2 was not mulching. Mulching is going to provide a bunch of different benefits for your plants and your garden. And some of the benefits include actually locking in that moisture. So because we weren't watering enough, that also really reduced the amount of water getting to the plants. But even if you weren't watering enough, but you had some mulch to actually hold in the moisture, it would definitely help. The mulching will also help shield some of the soil so that it's able to keep that nutrients packed inside. Now, there are a few different ways that you can actually mulch. You can actually use wood chips and mulch. So any type of wood chips that you have, there's ways to get free mulch chips from your electrical companies, your town. So definitely investigate into that, because that can save you a bunch of money. You can mulch with cardboard boxes, even just shredded up, if you're looking to go a really cheaper, more cost-effective way. Might not look the best, but it definitely will do the job. You can use any type of shading material, so any type of weed protection as well, because the mulching is going to also help prevent additional weeding, and something like a weed cloth can help with the shading of the soil and keeping those nutrients locked in. And the final way that you can mulch is by adding straw or hay to your beds. Now, we actually decided to go with this method because 1, we had a lot in our barn already, and it's a really, really great way to keep the soil rich in nutrients, moist, and block a lot of that sun. Now, what you do want to make sure is any hay or straw that you are using for your mulch, you're getting one that does not include any of the seeds. So if you accidentally do get one, you might start to notice that it is actually seeding in your garden. So just watch out for that, or else you are going to have a lot more weeds that you do need to pull. Just like you and I, plants also need a little spot to hide out from the harsh rays of the sun and getting themselves burnt. And that brings me to my 3rd mistake that we made, and it wasn't giving our plants enough shade. Now, when we were scoping out our land and deciding where exactly we wanted to put this garden, we knew that we wanted a place that would have a large amount of sunlight hours. But something that we didn't think about was that having hours and hours of sunlight meant that these plants were going to be hit by the sun and potentially start to get burned from all those beautiful rays. And we honestly didn't think about this at all. We chose a spot that was right smack in the sun spots. Some parts are shaded a little bit, and we've seen that the plants that have that part of the shade are thriving. But it made us learn that we really need to get some additional shade for our plants. Similar to this shady deck that I'm sitting under right now, we're going to be adding a shade cloth to our garden. And we're doing this by adding some wires, and we will be adding a 50% shade cloth because there is so much sun that these plants are given. We want to allow for them to really have a spot that can absorb up some of those rays and allow them to cool off a little bit for the day. And we know that this is really going to help with our plants' overall growth. And we're going to be talking a lot more about this in upcoming videos and showing you the actual process of installing this and how it's going to start to help our plants. So definitely stay tuned for that. But really think about how you can provide some additional shade for your plants because they really need that extra type of plant sunscreen, if you will, to help them prosper and grow. The fourth mistake that we made was not giving our plants some supplemental nutrients or plant food. And at first, we really wanted to see how we could create a garden with being as organic as we possibly could from just using different various types of compost and some high nutrient soil. But because we actually had the other mistakes that I've already talked about of just the harsh sun, not watering enough, and a lot of the nutrients getting stripped from the soil that we did actually purchase, we needed to go in and give them some additional food, which we were able to get some organic feed that I will actually post a link of down below. And you can see that it's already starting to really help the growth of our plants. It's really helping them thrive. And this is something that we could just sprinkle in and around the soil, add some additional water, and they've really been able to thrive with getting these additional nutrients just like we do when we're eating. So we're really happy that we started to add this, and we're going to continue to do this in our future gardening as well. The fifth and final mistake that we made when starting our garden was that we were just so eager to get out there, get our plants started. Being online, you're seeing Instagram posts and videos of everyone having such thriving gardens or plants that they're starting, and it's important to understand your zone, understand what planting zone you're in, and when the opportune time is to actually start your seedlings and get them outside. This year we started really early, and it made it so that we actually put our plants in outside. They were hit by a tail end frost, which we didn't receive last year, but we did this year, and we avoided all of the exterior articles that we were reading that said to wait until after Mother's Day because we are in a much higher zone up in the Northeast, and we didn't listen to it, and we really should have, because all of our plants were hit by an extreme frost, and it made us have to actually go ahead and purchase some plants, which I have a great video on how to actually score some free plants, which I'll add right here. And we're really excited that you guys are watching this content, and we'll see you guys again next time. We hope that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.